The more that the lines become blurred between entertainment and what looks like reality, the more important I think intention becomes in sharing lifestyle media. I think some of the nuance in these conversations gets lost in what can feel like a race for authenticity or relatability. And I want to make sure, as I share more and more of my life and thoughts in this public space, that I do so in a way that is responsible and has your best interest in mind as a consumer. While I don't think anyone owes anyone an explanation of their brain or body, I do think if I'm going to package and share my intimate life moments that are full of joy and optimism, I should also share, or at least make known, that these moments are balanced by as many difficult and unpleasant times, and not often in a romantic rain falling onto the fire escape way, but in a frustrating and sometimes embarrassing way that has taken a lot of professional help to come to terms with. I think the best thing that can come from lifestyle content is that a sense of community around the aura of the creator is generated. And the worst thing that can happen is that people spend a lot of money trying to become what they think that creator is. I think openly talking about the nitty-gritty of life is one way to avoid encouraging the latter. There's not a person on this earth, regardless of money, looks, talent, luck, or anything, that doesn't struggle to some degree. And there's no service, product, or supplement that will make your life feel like what an edited YouTube video, TikTok, or Instagram photo looks like. I think that other types of content abide by different laws. I think music, filmmaking, visual arts, lots of other formats can and should express and explore abstractions of life without owing any intention to the observer. And I'm planning to separate the entities of this kind of Katie lifestyle content from music projects of the near future, as to not confuse the romanticization of sadness or anger in my music with the material of my real life. But for the purposes of this channel, I decided to make this video talking about my mental health, my diagnoses, and how I cope on bad days, in hopes that some of my methods might help you too, and so that at the very least you know that you're not alone.
Ugh, we gotta clean our windows soon. Hey there, I'm back with a cup of tea. So, what's up? I never have said what's up for a video before. I feel like I'm a little self-conscious talking because Nate is working right behind me, but I just have to assume that he's intently focused and not really listening to what I'm saying, and then it will be fun, right?
Yes.
Just a quick disclaimer, these are just the things that I like to do and that help me out, but everyone's brain is different, everyone's body is different. Find what works best for you, and if any of these things sound good to you, maybe try them out. But that's it. Mostly this is just, not medical advice at all, just little things that I either want to do more of or that I do that make me feel good. So I struggle a bit with my mental health. I have a mood disorder called cyclothymia, which is mild depressive states and hypomanic states. So if you know about bipolar, it's like mania, which is very, very heightened, and then depression, which I think you know, depression, but cyclothymia is shorter periods of time between the up and down and less extreme up and down. I also have attention deficit disorder, or ADHD, and I find that my waves with the cyclothymia, when I go up into the hypomanic, I also get more into a hyperfocused state, which is part of the ADHD, which causes me to be really, really productive. It depends what I focus on or like what activity I'm doing, but it can be that I'm really productive, really excited about what I'm doing. I feel really elevated, and because I feel so good and focused and happy and I'm getting so much done, I neglect the activities that I need to do for when I dip back down. And so it's like like whatever goes up comes down the same amount. So I feel like recently I've been on a very up vibe. I've been really social and very out and about and working on projects with a lot of intensity. And in that, I haven't really been eating proper meals. I've been eating out a lot. I've been sleeping, like my sleep schedule's been a little bit more sporadic. The flip side is this feeling, which is really resistant to like much of anything. Going out and being around people or like strangers, meeting strangers, like those interactions become really stressful for me. I sort of wind up dealing with a lot of chaos that I create in the upstate, like clothes being left out, projects being left out, sort of abandoned tasks laying around everywhere, which isn't a big deal, but it's tough when I sort of lose the motivation chemicals to clean up the mess, both like physically and in my body, like whatever problems I've made for myself. So I made myself and you a little list for how to feel okay when you drop down like that.
I had a therapist once tell me if I can only do one thing in a day, have it be to make a meal and sit down to eat it. I think, at least for myself, it's impossible to assess my mood on an empty stomach, and the act of making and sitting for a meal is a good distraction in itself. Just smelling food cooking can increase your dopamine, and even if you've lost your appetite, sometimes just being around food is enough to bring it back. I know having groceries on hand requires some preparation that maybe didn't happen before your low mood. If you feel up to going out and grabbing groceries, that can also be a really good way to set yourself up for better days, and sometimes getting out of the house for a small errand can be a manageable change of environment. Grocery delivery is an expensive but can be convenient option if available in your area, and if you have the means, it can be a good way to take care of yourself without pushing too hard.
Double rainbow. That's insane. Wow.
There's a couple of articles from Harvard Health. They're very easy to read, but they're talking about the 4 feel-good hormones, which are oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins. And then I just also want to sneak in here that there are ways to boost these things naturally, but if you are working with a psychiatrist or a doctor or like any professional that advises you to take medication, don't feel bad about doing that. Obviously, do your own research, self-monitor as well, like keep a record of how you feel and journal so you can learn as much as you can about yourself and what works for you and what doesn't. But if you feel comfortable with it and you're working with someone that you trust, take medication if it helps you. Some people just have imbalances or needs that diet, exercise, meditation, all these awesome things, it still can't repair it all the way. And if that's your situation, don't feel ashamed and don't let anyone feel ashamed. I just got distracted by how beautiful and mood matching the rain is right now. It's actually really nice.
There are a lot of natural ways to release endorphins, which can immediately trigger feelings of happiness. My roommate Lila has this acupressure mat, and I find laying on it for just 5 minutes makes a huge difference in my mood. Your brain and body are so connected, and when you have a lot of tension or pain, it can translate to feeling negative about your life. Exercise is another great way to release endorphins, but when I'm already having a low day, I find getting myself to the gym or even just doing a home workout can be a bit too daunting. Little activities like using the acupressure mat, stretching, and rolling out are gentler ways for me to move and release my body without creating more stress or guilt. And then for the holy grail of mental health management, meditation. I'm really bad at meditating and can only do it in small chunks, but I find it really slows any kind of thought spiral I'm on and puts so much into perspective.
I feel like ADHD is such a barrier to meditating because also anything that includes routine can be really difficult, but it also is such a huge help for the symptoms of ADHD. Like, it helps with focus and with mood stabilization and all of those things. So yeah, maybe this video is my reminder to hold myself accountable to meditating every day. So oxytocin is known as the bonding chemical. It's increased from physical contact. So if you have a friend, a family member, a loved one, or just like anyone that wants to receive a hug from you and you want to hug, give them a hug. And if you feel the urge when you're hugging to cry, you can cry. There's like different types of tears, but emotional tears can flush the stress hormones out of your body, like cortisol. I used to get mad at myself for crying in these times because it's kind of like a continuous weepiness, which can be a little embarrassing and make socializing awkward, but understanding that it's literally just a physical response and that I'm flushing stress out of my system makes me feel way more comfortable with crying. And I think that we should all be more comfortable with crying because it's really normal and healthy. So yeah, let yourself cry. I should have put this in the beginning, but an important tip for a bad mental health day is, if you can, do nothing. But also important is to find the balance between doing nothing on a bad mental health day and quitting everything. Because I've fallen prey to the urge when I'm in a bad space to rearrange my life, drop things out, quit jobs, throw things away, just kind of turn my back on everything in my life, because if I feel bad, I think that everything is bad. But if you're having a bad mental health day or a bad mental health streak, it's not the time to make lifelong or even like medium-term long decisions. All that I'm saying to do is to cancel the stuff of that day. Almost everything can be canceled, rescheduled, or like changed in some way to make your life easier. There will be a day in the future, if you let yourself rest and chill now, that you can do that thing. It's just like today just isn't that day. And the quicker I think that you can let that go, the easier your day is gonna be, because I feel like I've been in the situation where I have something like in the evening, like an obligation or even like something nice, like meeting up with a friend for a coffee or something, and I wake up and it's one of these days and I don't cancel, I just like ruminate on how stressed I am about that thing, and then it gets worse when it's supposed to be something nice. Most people, especially if they're your good friends, if it's like a social plan, most of the time people don't care that much if you flake or reschedule, as long as you just like tell people what's up. Also, if you tell someone honestly like what's going on, if you're like, I'm just having a bad mental health day, I don't think I can meet up. You can even, and what I mean by change it as one of the options is like, if you're supposed to meet up with a friend and you can't stand the fact of like getting in your car and driving to that coffee shop, or getting on a bus or walking or whatever it is, cleaning for them to come over, if you just can't do it, change it. Like, be like, I don't feel up to meeting, can you do a phone call instead, if that feels manageable? Do a 20-minute phone call and catch up. Or be like, can we do next week? If someone is mad at you for that, that's not your problem. Anything, if it's not a threat to someone's life, like your life or someone else's life, or if it's not a life or death thing, putting your mental health in front of those kind of obligations is really hard to do, but you like just have to sometimes. But like I was saying, don't quit the job. Reschedule the meeting or do the work from home if you can. And I know that this is like, you know, everyone has different circumstances and some of these things just don't work, but don't make the big decisions on your bad mood, because you will base them on your bad mood. It's like going to a grocery store hungry. Don't buy a plane ticket. Don't get in a fight with someone. Don't, like, just wait until you're in a mid-ground to make any kind of big life decision. Okay, another tip. It's been said before, but it's true. Journal. If you journal, you can keep track of your moods, you can look for patterns, and the more you understand yourself and your brain and your hormones, the better you can plan and prepare for your mental health to stay good. I think that this is super true for people with periods or people with any kind of hormone fluctuation, because there are patterns, there should be patterns, there should be trackable, measurable patterns that you can learn about in your own body and learn to optimize those times for how you're likely to feel. Guess what? I made the biggest folly in the world and I didn't keep any of the pasta water.